Okay,
Here.
awesome. Hi, everyone. All 5 of you joining us, 6 of you now. Welcome to the 7th annual Sandwich Club Summit. Um, yeah, I am Breanne Trammell, and
I'm Shannon Finnegan.
this is our first online digital summit. Historically, we've hosted the Sandwich Club Summit in WYSIWYG, New York, at the WYSIWYG Project, but we're kind of switching things up a little bit this year. Um, just because Shannon and I live in 2 different places. We're broadcasting live from Cincinnati, Ohio, and
It's just a little after 4 p.m., 31 degrees here in Cincinnati.
yep, it's pretty toasty in the studio though. We'll post some behind the scenes photos of everything later. But just to kind of start things off, yeah, this is our first online summit. It's the 7th summit, and we wanted to do a few shout outs. And we have a bunch of visual aids here that you can't see. So we're going to be shuffling papers around throughout the summit to share some visual aids with you, some moments of importance from our own sort of snacking, sandwich, food experience over the past year. Um, but in terms of the shout outs, Shannon, do you want to? Number 1, Mary Banis in San Francisco. She's been designing all of the summit graphics for the last 3 years, starting with Altered States, the 5th annual Sandwich Club Summit, and then last year's Something Different, which was actually 2017. So we've technically skipped a year. So it's a mostly annual summit.
But we're technically only 6 months behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Cool. So this year's theme is "What You See Is What You Get" WYSIWYG. And this sort of was born out of a conversation that Shannon and I had after I moved to Cincinnati. We were kind of thinking about the future of the summit. I think it's a project that, it kind of started out as a joke, and then it has become a really significant part of our, I don't know, what we do as artists. And yeah,
Yeah. 7 years of sandwiching.
yeah. So yeah, we were having a phone conversation. Let's see, there are 9 people joining us. Thanks for stopping in, everyone. I think we have enough content for maybe an hour. It could be 30 minutes, depending on how fast we talk. And I don't have a script for this summit, which is a new thing for me to kind of be going off the cuff. Because I tend to get really nervous and then lose all train of thought or words and things that I want to share with you. So
We're going bold in 2019.
yeah, buckle up. So yeah, but just thinking about hosting the summit online, and early internet coding languages, CSS, that sort of thing, WYSIWYG, and then bringing the summit online. This is literally what you're getting today. What you see is
What you get.
what you get.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Mary Banis, thank you for designing all of our wonderful graphics. Andrew,
Before we get to Andrew,
okay.
a few notes about your participation in this event. We would love to hear from you. There's a great chat feature here on the live stream, so feel free to pop into the chat anytime. And also, of course, we have a hashtag. So if you feel so moved to document any part of this experience, please use this hashtag so that we can find it and see it.
Back to the shout outs.
Yes, back to Andrew.
Okay. So Andrew at Guitar Center, he was really helpful yesterday when we were trying to figure out our AV situation. So made a quick trip there and bought an inbox to plug the microphones in, because you can't just plug them into a headphone jack. And then Michael Everett at the University of Cincinnati for helping us out with the light kit and the microphones.
We have a very professional setup over here.
Yeah, LED light kit. You might have seen it on my Instagram story behind the scenes. And then also Matt Meldon here in Cincinnati at the last minute with some AV advice as well. So yeah, and Christy's over off camera. She's going to be chiming in the chat with some very relevant links regarding the content that we're going to be sharing with you today. So watch out for those if it's something that you want to look up. We're going to be posting the live links. So yeah, in terms of using the live chat, we're going to be doing a segment later on, an Ask Me Anything kind of thing. So if there are questions for us, or just questions or things that you want to pose to the chat, please feel free to liberally use the chat.
Yeah. The chat is for questions, comments, emojis, you name it.
Yeah, ASCII art. Okay. Yeah. So the other thing, besides sandwiches that we really love are chips. We made a pretty bold statement at the last Sandwich Club Summit that we like chips more than we like sandwiches.
# we love chips.
And our current snack scene here, we're going to share it with you. So our recommendation for snacks, probably number one, is Lay's cheddar and sour cream, but dipped in sour cream. And this was, you'll notice that the sour cream is in a pouch with a squeeze dispenser kind of cap.
This is a totally new experience for me.
And I first experienced this came into my awareness last year when I was in Estonia visiting my friend Christina, and there were sacks of sour cream, not even with a plastic dispenser tip. It was just a sack of sour cream, and you cut the corner and then dispense.
I like that.
So official snack of the 7th annual Sandwich Club Summit.
That's correct. Yeah. If you haven't had your sour cream and cheddar ruffles with sour cream yet, this is your call to action.
Yeah. And, we've always been a fan of the Lay's cheddar and sour cream. It's definitely my go-to on a road trip.
Well, Ruffles.
What did I say? Lay's sour cream? Okay. Oh, I said sour cream and onion.
I don't remember what you said.
Okay. Lay's cheddar and sour cream. Yeah. But I would also like to say that there are some really...
Ruffles. Cheddar.
Shit. Lay's is on my mind because we've been talking about this Cheetos sandwich that KFC just sort of released. They haven't rolled it out nationwide yet, but we were talking about Doritos and Taco Bell, and anyways.
Well, the whole Frito-Lay operation.
Yeah. Yeah. Ruffles.
Yes.
But what I was going to say, I think there's some really awesome regional flavors of cheddar and sour cream. Hussman's, for example, and the Snyder's, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
Really generous powder ratio.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of sampling Snyder's, right?
Hussman's.
Hussman's when I was here, and yeah, I thought it was great. Again, with this paired with the sour cream.
Yeah. But go back to just to legitimize the Ruffles cheddar and sour cream. The New York Times, they published this letter of recommendation. What is that? In 2016. So,
and I quote, "A snack food that is perfect in every way, requiring no context or elucidation." We also stand by that statement.
Yeah, and Christy will be posting the link to the New York Times article in the chat. Okay.
Oh, we have one other type of chip here. Also a regional chip.
This is Hen of the Woods. That might be kind of, yeah. Yep.
Kind of a similar to a cheddar sour
cream and
cream.
onion. Mhm.
Yeah. Buttermilk and chive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made in Cincinnati. Okay, so we've got 13 people. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Andrew from Washington is commenting in the chat. Hi, Andrew. We'll answer your question later. Jesse. Ooh, yeah, answering Andrew's questions. This is awesome.
We love this.
Yeah, so keep it up. So to just kind of get into everything that we've been thinking about and talking about in preparation for this, we wanted to do a year in review, and this is something that's typically a feature at the summit, where I'll post or share things that people have sent to me over Instagram or email. And generally, a theme kind of develops within all of those things. And last year it was chips. So this year it's kind of a little bit more, I don't know, diverse. It's kind of all over the map.
Yeah.
Do you want to share yours first?
Yeah. So when I was thinking about just my year in sandwiches, or really a year and a half, since as we mentioned we're running a little behind on this year's summit. One of the things that's really been on my mind is the rise of the fast casual bowl and the threat that that poses to sandwiches. I live in New York. I have had some jobs where I've been buying lunch, and it feels like the sandwich is not the go-to choice. And I think, I really understand it. The bowl is great. There's a lot that can happen in the bowl. I like that I can that I can have more vegetables there. Like it can really be like all vegetables. I think it can be hard to get a heartier vegetable, especially on a sandwich, like a broccoli or you can, but it's, you just have that thin layer.
Would you slice the broccoli on a mandolin if you were going to put it on a sandwich? Or would it be a floret? Like how,
I've had a very good sandwich in New York at a place called Daily Provisions. That's a broccoli melt that's roasted florets and with cheese on kind of a soft roll. And that, I would say that works pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's just not, the volume of broccoli isn't there. It's like mostly cheese and bread and then a little broccoli flavor. So anyway, the bowl. Yeah, something that's been on my mind. I feel like, maybe we're moving into a new era. Something new is happening in the food world. I don't know how sandwiches are going to respond. I don't know what's going to be next. But yeah, so keep your eye out for that. We want to know what you think, what you're seeing.
Yeah, my sort of comment about the bowl is, or I have a couple. When I was in graduate school and in between my first and second years, I worked at a print shop in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn, and I would go to the salad place like almost every day for lunch, which was just down the street, and it was one of those bowl places, like kind of a mix your own. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a couple of chains, I think.
Oh, now there's tons of chains.
Yeah.
Feels like there's a chain for every cuisine.
Yeah. But I think the bowl, I feel like it's also come to prominence just because of the Kardashians, like, because the Kardashians are always eating out of these clear plastic, is what I would imagine, bowls, and which I think it's a really huge problem. It's promoting this food that is served or given to you in a single-use plastic. I think that there was an article maybe in the Times or something recently that was talking about this issue where, some of those fast casual salad places are, considering compostable packaging and that kind of thing. So I think that's what we really need to be sort of vigilant about is the way that we're consuming these things and going to the places that do recycle and do
Yeah, the bowl
compost.
itself.
Yeah, the bowl
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. Well, it's a mystifying with the Kardashians, right? Because you would think that they could work out a system where they didn't have to they could use a reusable
Yeah.
thing. Doesn't quite add up.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 2 more things from my year in review. The next one is, I feel like I've seen a lot in the world of sandwiches. It's pretty hard to surprise me anymore. But I was recently talking to someone who is Canadian who told me about this sandwich loaf tradition. Um, so I'm going to describe it to you and then I'm going to show you some images. But imagine you take a loaf of bread, but instead of slicing it the way that we usually do, you're slicing it the other way. So you have these really big layers. And then between each layer are different types of salad. So, like tuna salad, ham salad, egg salad, chicken salad, things like that. And then over this entire thing is cheese whiz, kind of frosted. Yeah. Um, and I had heard a little bit about kind of sandwich cakes coming out of Northern Europe, with kind of like a salmon cream cheese type vibe. But something about the cheese whiz and like the egg salad was really startling to me. And so, yeah, so that's just something that's been really, it's just nice to know that there's always more to learn about sandwiches. I'll show you a couple pictures.
And I'm wondering, on what occasion would you make this? And I think the image will kind of show you. There's some clues as the festivities happening on and behind the cake. Behind. But I think that the cheese whiz is like an interesting part for me because it looks more of like a powdery kind of mix. It doesn't look like something that would be goopy and kind of fall off. This is definitely more traditional, sort of
Getting
layered cake
Yeah, real
looking.
decorative.
You wouldn't know. I wouldn't really consider that to be. I mean, that doesn't look like egg salad filling or tuna salad filling. It looks like a jelly layering.
I think that yellow layer is egg salad.
This one,
Yeah.
there is a little bit of white kind of like in the corner that looks like an egg white. So okay, and maybe the orange is like a, I don't know, what would that be? Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, keep your eye out.
Something to eat with a fork and a knife too.
Yeah, that really raises a whole specter of whether it would even really be a sandwich.
I don't know. I mean, some open face sandwiches, as Christy, our assistant, pointed out yesterday, are eaten with forks and knives.
It's true. It's very true.
But then it's like, the reason what sandwich even exists is because of its portability. So
Yeah,
you really can't
gets tricky.
be on the go with a fork and a knife,
Yeah.
like
You can't take that on with you
No.
somewhere. No way. That stays at the house.
Next summit we should try to make that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think we should try to make it delicious, or do you think we should be true to the tradition?
I don't know. Can we meet in the middle?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the high and low of sandwich cakes.
Mm-hmm. And then lastly, for my year in review, because we're here in Cincinnati, I wanted to discuss an important sandwich experience that I had here. Cincinnati is a chili town, but but you can put that chili into what is being called a sandwich format. So this is an item that I ate recently at the famous Skyline. It looks like there's just cheese on a hot dog bun, but underneath there is chili, onions, and mustard. And I am glad that I tried it. I don't think I'll order it again, but I had some thoughts about it. One is that I think the mustard does a lot for it. That's really an innovation, I would say. Um, and I also felt excited about how kind of soft and fluffy the whole ensemble was, because the bread is really soft, and then you have this kind of liquidy, and this is very fluffy cheese. So yeah,
Great. It's grated in house. This cheese.
yeah, we got to ask a few questions.
Yeah, my sort of issue with defining this dish as a sandwich is something that we're going to be unpacking later in the summit. So maybe we can come back to this
Sure.
image.
Yes.
But I will say that the chili cheese sandwich at Skyline is my go-to when I have eaten there. I've eaten there twice, maybe 3 times. And yeah, I think it's definitely like a Cincinnati institution. There are multiple chili chains
Competing.
So yeah, we're going to circle back to chili in a couple of different segments here in the summit. But okay.
We forgot to say in the snack introduction section that we also have olives here.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite snacks.
We're really living it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So now to Breanne's year in review.
My year in review, it's kind of all over the place. I was just going through my phone, kind of looking at different images of chip bags and things people have sent to me. I mentioned the sour cream sack experience from my trip to Estonia, and I wanted to share one of the most unique flavors of chips I've ever eaten, which is the Lay's creamy forest mushroom flavor, which is really only to be found in Eastern Europe. You can't find them here in the States. My friend Jessica Caponegro, she's the one that recommended that I seek these out when I was on that trip. And yeah, they're just like, the flavor is very soft. And I'm typically not one that is really into like a mushroom forward flavor. But this was delightful, and yeah, I need to figure out how to order them here. That's not on Amazon.
I love that they specify forest mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like not
Wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a farm.
Yeah, there's a picture of a forest there with the light streaming through the trees.
That's also nice. That really
Mm-hmm.
brings you to a certain mindset.
To a moment.
Yeah.
Another significant moment in my everyday is receiving images from my friend Rebecca Morgan of the visual state of the interior of her car, which is generally filled with various kinds of trash and food items. And this is a screenshot from a FaceTime over the past year. And this is an image of her jam bread, which is a Pennsylvania approach to eating jelly on a piece of bread. It's not toasted, right? If Rebecca's here, can you chime in on that? But
but that's the only thing that makes it different than eating toast with jam, is that it's untoasted.
Her jelly bread?
I'm just trying to understand the difference between jelly bread and
I think it might be a colloquial term.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Gotcha.
But again, Rebecca, if you're here, there's 14 people viewing. Thanks for tuning in so far, everyone. Yeah, I don't know. But I wanted to share this image just because it's an open face sandwich. Depending on your definition of what an open face sandwich is, which is something that you and I have debated quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Is it truly an open face sandwich if it's just one piece of bread, or does the other piece of bread have to be present
Or
on the plate?
imagined.
Imagined.
Yeah.
So it's just all in your mind. It's not what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just has to also be up there. Some other news items. I love it when people send me bags of chips that they're currently eating. This is from Brady Eulis in Muncie, Indiana.
That's a beautiful chip
It's a
bag.
beautiful chip bag. I love the graphic qualities of the super flat colors and the landscape at the top.
Yeah, look at those
The
clouds.
serif typeface. Yeah, just the type taking up almost the entire bag. The St. Louis hot sauce at the bottom. So solid DM. And I have a couple of other Instagram items. So one of my former students, Claire Kennedy, recently sent me this important sandwich art, and we'll share a screenshot of that later. But it's a very tall sculpture.
Very tall.
Some Tony Matelli sort of art related things that I want to talk about. But I think we're going to get to that in the
in a later segment.
Okay. Okay. So
Great.
there's probably a lot more that I could talk about, or that we could talk about in terms of a year in review, but I think we should.
So much happens in a year.
There's a lot. Yeah.
There's so much sandwich news constantly.
Yeah. And I think a nice way to keep up with that, in addition to the Sandwiches for Life Instagram account, is our friend Mike Merrill. He's based in LA and he runs a website called Snacker News. It's snacker.news. And yeah, he's also been he's a past Summit alumni. He's presented a couple of times. He was one of the first people to come in from out of town to participate and present in a summit. He flew in from Portland, Oregon, and came up to WYSIWYG. I think it was at the 4th annual summit.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, shout out to Mike Merrill and Snacker News.
Great.
Okay.
Are you ready for the next segment?
Yeah. So there's 12 people that are still with us. Thanks everyone for sticking around.
Oh, I realized for this segment we need to make an audio recording also.
Okay.
So I'll get that set up.
What's going on in the chat? Yeah, so if you've just tuned in, we have the live chat over on the side. So please contribute your thoughts or questions. We're going to be doing an Ask Me Anything segment later on. But for the next sort of part of this, we wanted to do an oral history of the Sandwich Club Summit and the Sandwich Club. And again, Shannon and I sort of talk about the summit and what it could be and what it might look like just throughout the year.
Past, present, future.
Yeah, we're just kind of always tossing around ideas. And when I lived in Akron a couple of years ago, I was like looking at Deadspin, and I really loved this oral history that they did. So it's an oral history of our "Go fuck yourself" tweet to Donald Trump. And I immediately like sent that to Shannon, was like, we should, do an oral history at some point just for institutional memory, but then also it could be a fun thing to do live and on the fly. So this is totally unscripted. And also just thinking about things being unscripted and sort of capturing this as a memory, and all of your participation as well. The live stream chat, and then I guess the transcript from this summit is going to be collected into the Upper Crust Volume 4, which is the official publication of the Sandwich Club Summit. So thank you for being here, everyone, and for your participation. I hope everyone feels the agency to chime in the chat and really just kind of be here in a very present way. Yeah.
Great. So where do you want to start with the oral history?
I think it's important to note that the Sandwich Club, it's a club that doesn't meet and anyone can be a member. That's something that people ask me often.
Goes against the grain in terms of traditional clubs, I would say.
But it also allows for a broader member base.
Yeah.
And
Big tent organization.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, one of the cornerstones of the Sandwich Club was the Google Doc.
Yes. Yeah. And the Google Doc really started because just a very small group of people was having trouble keeping track of which sandwiches we'd eaten and which sandwiches we wanted to eat. And so we just needed a way to track that. And what better place than a spreadsheet?
Yeah, it's not a public spreadsheet. You have to request access, but
you can request access through sandwich-club.org, and everyone who requests access gets approved.
Yeah. So the Google Doc, the Sandwich Club sticker, those were the two sort of main pieces of material or ephemera or spaces that were
really what constituted membership for a long time. It was like you could have a sticker, you could be part of the Google Doc.
Yeah, and the sticker is something that you can also request from the website.
Yes. Free stickers forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we met in WYSIWYG, and we must have been talking about sandwiches.
Well, we would make a lot of sandwiches for lunch. Yeah, Shannon and I are former roommates, housemates, and big fans of popcorn for dinner. We just have, I don't know, I think we just really found a shared love of snacks and just food and candy, and that really was what has connected us and kept us together over the years.
Yeah, early on, Breanne and I decided to quit sugar together and both secretly started eating sugar again within days of making this pledge.
One day.
And had to kind of confess to the other one, but then what a relief that everyone had fallen off the horse together.
Yeah. So that was in 2012.
That
right?
sounds right. Yeah.
Or was it 2011? 2011.
We met in 2011.
The spring of 2011. Right. So then September of 2012 was the first Sandwich Club Summit, Sandwiches in the Expanded Field. And we were just having breakfast at our local sort of sandwich shop in Amenia, New York.
Shout out Back in the Kitchen.
Back in the Kitchen, where one of our favorite people worked, Cassie Corello, now Cassie Siegenthaler. And she received the first Sandwich Advocate Award at the very first summit.
Yeah.
So it was me and you, Myla Fay, Susanna Moeller, and Dana Bunker, all sitting around a table at Back in the Kitchen. And one of us, it was either me or you, said something about the Sandwich Club. And then it was like, oh, we should do, wouldn't it be funny to host a conference about sandwiches? And like, how funny would it be to just sort of use this like very academic and business speak language to talk about and approach the sandwich?
Yeah.
So the first summit, it was mostly just people that we knew. So just trying to,
I would say exclusively.
We knew everyone.
We also, I feel like, really like guided all of the presentations. Like we approached a lot of people to be like, can you present about this? Can you present about this? So there we really, it was a very hands-on summit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the mayo or no mayo was that year 1. We don't have any of the programs in front of us, which is probably a bad idea. Because I think the titles of all of the presentations and the workshops are super funny. And you can also see the entire list on the Sandwich Club website, which is sandwich-club.org.
Yep.
So the complete
It's actually
history.
not the entire list.
Oh.
But
Selections are some of our favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some titles are on the website. Yeah.
So the first year was a huge success. We had no idea that like maybe 50 people would show up to hear us talk about sandwiches.
Yeah.
But I think that is like it's just become this really amazing like forum to bring a bunch of people together.
Yeah.
Food being the glue, and use sandwiches to like really, not only unpack what is a sandwich, but then other sort of things have come into play as well.
Yeah, I feel like what the Sandwich Club really taught me was that, well, first of all, that people have a lot of opinions about sandwiches. It's really, I can give you this hot tip right now, which is that if you're ever at a party and you don't know what to talk about, try asking a sandwich related question. Usually you can get something going. Yeah, and then also it was just so exciting to see other people get enthusiastic about it and kind of get in the zone and yeah. I mean, really get in the zone.
Very seriously in the zone.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that was 2012. 2013 was Sandwich Fever.
Yeah. Boy, hard to remember. That's why we're doing this now, not any later.
Yeah, so we might annotate the transcript of the oral history with additional information.
Oh, that was the year that Zeb was on the planning committee.
It was okay. You, and Zeb.
That was the year of Hamburger Vampire. That was the year that of mayo versus no mayo. That's the year that we have good documentation of. So we actually,
we had a professional photographer who was my roommate at the time, Danny Gaitis, who is a New York Times photographer and was generous, photographed everything for us.
Beautiful photos. Yeah.
But Zebediah Keneally, Hamburger Vampire, he did a mind control chips performance.
Yep.
Yeah. Charlotte Caldwell and her dog Morgan.
Yeah.
Did a mayo or no mayo performance.
Yeah.
Test,
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was also the year that Hallie Scott presented about sandwiches in art history, which is I think an iconic presentation where we all learned a lot.
Yeah, and then that was also was that honoring Warren Zevon's legacy?
Yes.
Okay. There's a much longer version of that title. It's very abridged what I just said, but
yes.
Yeah. Making good food choices and honoring Warren Zevon's legacy.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
2014 was Hopes and Dreams.
Yep.
And Sandwiches in the Clouds.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the year that I think things really shifted and it felt like it started to be really like outside of us.
Yeah. Strangers started to apply to present at the summit, and that was an incredible feeling. Yeah, to have people, outside of our just direct network wanting to like participate in this and putting a lot of time and energy and thoughtfulness into it. So just in terms of applying for the summit, the summit is generally curated from an open call based on the theme of that year. So we did Sandwiches in the Expanded Field, Sandwich Fever, Hopes and Dreams. That was 3.
Oh, this is so hard.
Altered States, Something Different, and WYSIWYG, What You See Is What You Get. So there's one in there that I'm forgetting. So maybe we can fill that in later. So everything goes through a Google Doc, and then our steering committee helps select the program for that year. And the steering committee is generally comprised of you and me and past summit presenters.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Other people who know about sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else from the history that I feel like was really important to acknowledge. Oh, well, so was it for the second year that we when did we win the grant?
Oh, that was the 4th year,
Gotcha.
I think.
Yes, I think that's right. So that was another big turning point, I think, for us, where we won an awesome foundation grant and was like, oh, this is not just a weird thing that we do, but also
Yeah.
a weird thing that other people
Well,
like to
the tricky
participate.
thing is, I think it's really important to be able to compensate people for their time and efforts and travel. So that was the year that we were able to pay all of our presenters an honorarium, and then also purchase materials for the grilled cheese bar, which is another staple of the summit. I think is also important to talk about. So, when we've hosted the summits at a venue, we've always had a grilled cheese bar. So sandwiches are sort of passed up into the audience. And at the Something Different Summit, going back to last year's, Molly Baker and Jason LaFerrera sort of reinvented multiple sandwich dishes. And one of them, let's see. Yeah. So this is an image from tastecooking.com, a piece that they wrote about bacon, egg, and cheese nachos. So taking the bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich and reconfiguring the ingredients into this dish, which was one of the dishes that they served at the last IRL summit. And we'll be posting that link in the chat as well, so you can look that up. But yeah, they were presenters in the previous summit at Altered States. Their presentation was moving the middle to the top, which was all about taking sandwich ingredients and putting them onto pizza. So using them as pizza toppings, which I thought was
very exciting.
Extremely exciting. Really amazing photographs. And then the following year, they made this new food program for us, which was delightful.
Yeah.
I think other significant moments were probably attaching sandwiches to miniature rockets. That was definitely
getting
deep,
scientific.
Yeah, scientific, deep spectacle. Yeah.
Sandwiches in the law. That was another highlight for me.
Jeremy Fredrickson, who is a lawyer, and he basically presented different instances of when sandwiches appeared in court cases.
Yeah, a lot to learn there. And then I think one of our all-time favorite presentations is Pamela Council's rap.
My pussy is not a sandwich. So yeah, top 3,
Yeah, that was a great one.
Okay,
cool. Well, I think we should wrap up the oral history there. We will continue going through the archive and look for a annotated transcript.
Yeah. Again, this is very unscripted, off the cuff.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So now we have one more segment planned before the Ask Me Anything. So if you have any questions burning sandwich questions, non-sandwich questions, anything that you'd like to ask us, be sure to pop those questions into the chat. We'll be getting to those shortly.
Yeah, and just kind of scanning the chat right now. Looks like Jesse and Andrew were sort of talking about um, the all dressed chips. We can go into that in more detail in a moment. Eli Miners, a note on the Skyline cheese coney. It's important to the experience to add their hot sauce. Oh, pro tip.
Really messed up.
Yeah.
Sounds like I do have another chili sandwich in my future.
Okay. Nancy just had popcorn for lunch. Awesome. Totally support that. Oh, you can see the duct tape on the side of our, yeah. Okay. Just adding extra visual information. Okay.
So before the Ask Me Anything, we were just going to talk a little bit about a topic that just continues to be relevant, continues to come up, which is or is not, or
Well, let me just, I have some visuals for this. I have a couple. So Shannon's been in town here. Again, we're in Cincinnati. Thanks to everyone that stayed with us. There's 11 people viewing the summit right now. Shannon's been a visiting artist, and one of the questions after her artist talk the other night was, is a hot dog a sandwich? And I would also just kind of like to show you that this is a topic that I include in my dating profile. Not a whole lot of response to that question. And then I was going through my Instagram in preparation for this, and I came across this. I was a visiting artist at Moorhead in Minnesota last year with Anna Haglin, and at my talk, someone asked me, is a hot dog a sandwich? So
people want to know.
it's just constantly in the discourse. At Tribune Showprint in Muncie, Indiana, they have a collection of food illustrations. And so if you had to guess what that was,
I would say hot dog.
hot dog. Okay, so image one. However, it's labeled as a sandwich.
Wild.
So it's the debate as old as time. Also, just to show you one of my favorite Liechtenstein prints.
Beautiful. Things are really
okay. Yeah. But earlier this year,
I think this might have been last year.
It might have been 2016. Don't really know. It feels like it was in the not so distant past. We have this. Ruth Bader Ginsburg weighs in on whether a hot dog is a sandwich.
Yeah.
Colbert.
Yeah. Huge moment.
So before I show you the visual aid of her response to his description of what a sandwich is, I think we can kind of unpack our own definitions.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of where there's a fork in the road.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, we should just always preface any conversation about what is or is not a sandwich by saying that the Sandwich Club itself does not have any policies around this. It's too controversial. So we are speaking as individuals, not as representatives of the club. So for me, a hot dog is not a sandwich. And for me, it's a geometry issue. So I think of the bread of a hot dog as making a U shape, and you hold it with the opening facing up. And there are some other things that I would consider a sandwich, like a hoagie, that also has connected bread, but it's on its side more. It's more of a C shape. So that's for me where it lies, is this the U problem. the U-shaped problem?
So it all comes down to the bread. If we can go back to the skyline image real quick. So this is called a chili cheese sandwich on the menu, and it's in a hot dog bun.
Yes.
So let's just take a moment to think about that. It's a chili cheese sandwich, but it's served in a hot dog bun. And the hot dog bun is connected at the bottom, correct?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important context to know that they're also serving other things at Skyline that are the same thing, but with a hot dog.
But they're not called a hot dog. They're called conies. And so I think that, this could be just a different kind of coney. It could just be a baby coney. It's a small hot dog. It's a small bun.
Mhm.
There's no spaghetti on it, which I think is, maybe not something we mentioned earlier, but
Oh, yeah.
on the conies at Skyline Chili, or rather the Cincinnati specific chili, it's basically spaghetti
Yes.
with chili ingredients.
Yes.
It's not the bean based, whatever vegetables.
No, it's its own
Chili.
genre of chili.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't exactly consider it chili.
Yeah.
I don't think it's chili. Yeah. Okay. So anyways,
Yes. So you.
me. My definition of a sandwich, let's just take it back there. My definition of a sandwich is two of the same like ingredients or materials that are like bookending or framing a separate ingredient in the middle.
Right.
So like an ice cream sandwich,
Mhm.
an Oreo.
Mhm.
My friend Miles brought up the KFC chicken sandwich yesterday,
Mhm.
which was the chicken sandwich that was using the chicken breast patties as the bread. So it's sandwiching another ingredient in the middle, which I don't remember what that is because I've never had it. So yeah, two like materials. It doesn't necessarily have to be bread.
Yeah.
Right?
That's where we disagree, but yes, I know this is your opinion.
This is, yeah. And so I believe that a hot dog is a sandwich, technically, when the bun is split.
Which does happen sometimes accidentally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, on the sandwich alignment chart, I think I'm chaotic neutral.
I don't
Because
remember what
I feel fairly like a traditionalist, but I'm also open
Yeah.
to new ideas.
Yeah.
In the expansive genre of sandwiches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think a hot dog is a sandwich. I don't know if anyone wants to weigh in the chat. Can we get a poll?
Yeah.
Anyone can just chime in. Okay. So my other point on this is the artist Tony Matelli. He just opened a solo exhibition in Stockholm, Sweden, at Andren Shevchenko. I'm trying to pronounce the name. And in the press release for the exhibition, he makes figurative sculptures. Oftentimes they're bronze cast, but then they also have these like interventions that appear on the sculptures themselves. One example is this from this was at the Armory last year. And this is Rebecca Morgan pointing to a bronze sandwich that has been painted that is resting on another bronze sculpture. Okay. So here is the press release for his new show that just opened on February 1st. And, just in kind of Googling about his sandwich earlier this morning, because literally I put all of this together earlier today. I found out that he has this show that's just opened, and in the description of the new work for the press release, it says a hot dog sandwich cast in painted bronze. So it's putting all of those words together, and I just thought that and I have a hot dog sandwich.
Wild.
So yeah, I sent him a DM earlier on Instagram. I was hoping that he could call in, because I have my phone here. Yeah. So if anyone's interested in calling in right now, I know there's like a few second delay in the chat. Please feel free. We have my phone number here if you want to help us unpack. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yeah. So
And
it's tough.
should we go back to Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Okay. Do you want to hold up this one?
Yeah. So this is the setup. And then we find out that definitely, yes,
It's definitely a sandwich.
is what she says.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was posted on foodandwine.com. Official Supreme Court justice has weighed in on this pressing topic.
Yeah, that was for me was a real crisis of consciousness because I felt pretty firm in my opinion. I felt pretty clear about that, but it's hard for me to disagree with Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Well, again, I think it's only a sandwich when the bun is split down, when it's two separate buns holding the hot dog.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, those are, other questions. It reminds me of other questions that people ask us all the time, like, is a burrito a sandwich? Is a wrap a sandwich? No. But I think we're also in a post-sandwich kind of time.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later when we discuss the future of the Sandwich Club Summit. No one has chimed in about wanting to call my cell phone.
That's okay. That seems like it might be logistically complicated.
Okay.
So
Well, we're here just in case.
if you want to, we're ready to try it.
Okay. Tony Matelli, where are you?
We do have one question from the AMA. If anyone else has questions, feel free to chime in. We have a question. Thoughts on pork rinds? Good snack, bad snack? Should they be called meat chips? What are the best pork rinds available?
Pork rinds it's not something that I normally eat.
Yeah, that's also a no for me.
I've maybe had one in my entire life. And I remember the texture and the consistency. It's sort of like being like a fried cotton candy.
Or kind of like a little bit like styrofoamy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you could solidify cotton candy and it become very crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
but
just
you know
very
what
airy.
I did have one time that I really liked? Pork rinds with hot sauce on them.
I don't know.
It was good.
Okay.
I feel like for me, it's best if I just think of it as a chip. I just leave the meat part totally aside. Just don't think about that at all. And just think of it as I would a veggie chip or a potato chip. Just think of it as a chip with light pork flavoring.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wonder where that comes from, like pork rinds. Like it had to have been someone figuring out like we can't call these meat chips because maybe people wouldn't buy them. I don't know.
I think it's old. My guess is it's like those have been. I mean, I would love if anyone, if there are
Something to
any,
unpack.
yeah, pork rind experts out there, we would love to hear from you. But my sense is that it's something that's been around
Yeah.
a while.
I've never even had the inclination to look them up.
Well, that's also something that we can.
If someone could please post the Wikipedia entry in the chat stream, that would be very helpful. Okay.
Okay, we have another question. Is it a snack prerequisite to be savory? What are y'all as thoughts on sweet snacks specifically?
Gummies.
Oh, specifically gummies. Okay. Hugely pro gummy for me. I think of my personal motto as candy every day. So no worries from me at all about savory sweet distinctions when it comes to snacks. I like to have both. You know, that's nice to have that option. You want something a little bit savory with something a little bit sweet. I will always pick a gummy over a chocolate. So that's for me.
What kind of gummy specifically?
Oh, I know that you know about these. If you've ever been to a natural grocery store and gone to the like bulk food area, there's something that happens with the natural gummies texturally. They're a little softer. Love that. I was recently working at an office where they had an alternative Swedish fish available, a little bit darker red, a little bit softer to bite into. Amazing.
Scandinavian swimmers.
Oh yes, we've been having those while I've been in Cincinnati. Breanne asked me about my snack rider before I arrived, and gummies were on it. I also, another snack that we have present in this room that's one of my all-time favorites is the Nerds Rope. That's usually what I say is my absolute favorite candy. Just texturally, there's so much to love.
Yeah. Yeah. I support the Nerds Rope. So Whitney, thanks for your question. That's kind of, for me, I just love salty snacks. I think when I do a sort of like salty sweet combo, it's when I'm on a road trip. I have to be in the car, and that'll be the Ruffles cheddar and sour cream. There'll be a stick of Rolos. I'm very into the Nerds Rope now that I'm aware of it.
Keep your eye out for Valentine's Day themed Nerds Ropes. You get a few seasonal Nerds Ropes, and so we're in that season now.
Yeah, I'm currently working on one, a Nerds Rope. Yeah, but it's pretty much chips all the way. Although I do a like hummus and pretzel stick combination.
Yeah, but a pretzel's not far from a chip.
They're
in the same aisle.
They're in the yeah, but it's such a different texture and flavor.
But it's still salty.
Yeah, depending on what brand you get, because some brands of pretzel rods totally suck and there's not enough salt. And like I want the crystals to be like coming down the entire stick. Like just fill it up.
Yeah.
So it's extremely disappointing. Which I've had this experience lately. The Kroger brand pretzel rods don't have enough salt on them. And then you're stuck with a pound of pretzel rods, and then I'm just eating them and not enjoying it, but I don't want to throw them away. You know, I don't want to give them to my dog. So, but anyways, chips. I love the savory snack. I don't know. We share a lot of the same tastes. When I was asking Shannon what I should get to like have in my kitchen, or, you know, what do you need for the week before she got here, she was like, I like what you like.
Yeah, that's been a real mantra of the week, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we share a lot of the same tastes.
Yeah, and I respect your palate. So if you said this is something you should try, I would try it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know that. Okay. What else do we have?
Oh, I like this from Christy, a solution about dealing with unsalty pretzels. Roll it in salt.
Oh, I guess you'd have to eat it immediately because it might get soggy. Maybe if you used a squirt bottle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you sort of have like just lay out a fine, like
Or maybe like mist it with salt butter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like there's a question from John up at the top. Oh, wait, maybe this is just a comment about our olives. What if olives are bad and are only good as part of a larger whole?
Do you think that's a pun?
What if olives are bad? The way that they're harvested, I feel, nuts and olives, anything that is small that comes from a tree, I think that is something that I think about just in terms of labor and where food is sourced and where we get it and how it gets here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's my initial reaction to that comment in the chat.
Yeah. I do think of olives as a salty snack lover's delight. Like it feels like a great salt vehicle.
Yeah, I love salt.
Yeah. I think that's why I like olives.
Okay, I'm sorry if I misinterpreted that comment. He also says, down with chicharrones or pork rinds. Only tend to have it at okay, so not a question. Okay.
But we really appreciate that participation.
Yes.
And chiming in with.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Anything else? All right.
Awesome.
So, if you haven't already, taking a screenshot of what's happening right now and then posting wherever you post things with the hashtag 2019 SCS. We'd love that, just so it can go into the feed for this year's summit. Yeah, okay. So because we're not sort of meeting all together in a physical space right now, we wanted to create a certificate of participation that you all can download. So this is going to be a PDF that we'll post in the chat here. So it's a blank certificate. You can fill in your name, print it out at your office if you have a printer at home, wherever, and then send us a picture. We'd love to see them. Okay. All right. So
the future.
Okay. Well, before we get to the future location, another thing that we've been kind of behind on, going back to the past, has been publishing the 3rd issue of The Upper Crust.
A mere year and a half behind schedule.
A mere year and a half. So this is finally finished. It was designed by Isaac Gertman. Thank you so much, Isaac. Isaac teaches graphic design at MICA in Baltimore. So pretty legit issue of the official Sandwich Club publication. So if you were a contributing, or if you were a contributor, we're going to be sending those out this week. I also want to go ahead.
Oh, even if you weren't a contributor and you want a copy, get in touch.
Yeah, we have a few extras, so just let us know. What's really special, in addition to having a professional graphic designer design the publication, is the insert that was made by Jessica Caponegro, which is a lemon-scented sort of bookmark insert.
Silk screened
with pentagrams. And Jessica, if you are here, it would be wonderful if you could talk about just what was happening, sort of your idea behind this insert. And I want to sort of, I think the premise was the lemon maybe wards off or has magical properties. But I think I don't want to speak out of turn. So if you're here, let us know. Okay, the future. So my dream, my vision for the next Sandwich Club Summit is to have another gathering, to have an open call, to curate that
More
programming.
along the lines of traditional summits.
Yeah. So my dream is to host it at Memorial Hall here in Cincinnati. This is a beautiful venue. So yeah,
Truly give sandwiches their moment of glory.
we'll see what happens. But there are ways to continue to participate. The Sandwiches for Life Instagram account,
Mm-hmm.
the Twitter,
The
enjoying your own sandwiches, and then letting us know what
Mhm.
you're eating. In the Google Doc,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can request a sticker. So
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate all of you being here for this very experimental summit. Yeah. And we're just very grateful that so many people are part of this conversation about sandwiches and will be part of the club as it goes forward and part of future summits.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.